Ray William Ohrtman, September 19th, 1927. There was 5 boys in our family, and finally we got a baby sister. Well, there was no money, and it was just terrible. And my mother raised chickens, and we had a lot of laying hens and a lot of eggs. And those eggs, we'd take them to town and trade them for groceries. And that's how we got through the Depression. She would buy 1,000 straight-run Leghorns, and we keep 500 of them about for layers, and the other 500 got butchered and sold for broilers. We picked potatoes up, and I had a whole wagon load of potatoes, and opened the basement window and shoveled them in the window, and that's how we kept our potatoes. Well, at Independence #1, which is a country school, and we had to walk about a mile across the field to get there. And it was all right in the summertime and when it was nice, but sometimes in the winter it had to be a long mile. It was Sunday afternoon, and we went to a school program, a Vesper program, I think they called it. And I played the violin a little bit, so I had to play a solo. And I was nervous about that. And I was standing in the hall, and somebody said they bombed Pearl Harbor. And I said, "What's Pearl Harbor?" I was 13 years old. I had never heard of it. And so I found out, and I didn't play a very good violin solo after that. Well, I was in college, and I knew I was going to get drafted when I turned 18. See, I was real young for my age. I graduated from high school when I was 16, and so I started college at 16 at University of Iowa. Good one. And anyway, then when I knew it was going to be about drafting, I went home and for Christmas and was talking to some of the other boys around town. They were the same age as I was. And I says, "Hey guys, I noticed we could join the regular army for a year and a half, and then you get out in a year and a half." And so that's what we did. We all 5 went and joined up. And I thought we were going to be, I thought we were all going to be together. Wouldn't that be fun? But we didn't. We had a real rough basic, and the other guys got sick or didn't make it through basic, but I did. And so we got separated, and I didn't know where they went, and they didn't know where I went. And after I finished basic, they took me right over to Army Ground Forces Board 4, and I was to help develop new equipment. But I suspect it was because I was taking engineering in college. They thought, well, maybe they could use something I learned. You know. The first thing I did, I helped them. They sent me to help with this guy by the name of Dick Kroll. He was kind of a different kind of a guy, but he was so brilliant that he was a little bit different, and the guys teased him. See, and I was supposed to kind of help keep him going and everything. Oh, it was Army Ground Forces Board 4 at El Paso, Texas. We were developed the radar. When they found out what radar was, they wanted to figure out if they could hook that up to the anti-aircraft guns and shoot down the planes. He understood the electronics. He was brilliant. But he did not know anything about hydraulics, which these anti-aircraft guns are all controlled by hydraulics. So I helped him with hydraulics because we had some of that on the farm. And some of it was common sense. Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. Well, before I did that, though, they took me to the machine shop, and I learned how to run all the different machines so we could learn how to make what we needed, you know, in the way of equipment. And that was pretty interesting, too. And Then in the meantime, while I was there, the guy the sergeant that ran the machine shop, said he was the manager of the NCO club, Non-Commissioned Officers Club, and he wanted to quit, and he wondered if I'd take the job. Oh, I said, I gotta go have a look at it. Oh, the whole club was in terrible shape, ran down, and I said I'd think about it. Well, then I decided, why don't I? I think the Army paid us $65 a month in those days, and the Army paid me $65 to run the NCO club. So I had my wages doubled, you know. I decided they ought to have a hamburger, and so we started selling hamburgers. That went over big. They liked that. See, this guy came that said he could paint the walls and paint murals. And he wondered if I would like to have him paint some murals. Well, I said, I think that'd be wonderful. He said, all it'll cost you is a beer that I drink while I work. I said, well, I could arrange that. So we had beautiful murals. And then we got an old piano in there. It wasn't much good, but we had a couple guys that thought they could play, you know, and play. Some of them played and sang. We just had a good time. I saved enough money to buy some of my farm machinery when I got out. Well, we were working on new equipment, you know, and that covers a pretty broad thing. And Werner von Braun had, the German scientist, had captured 100 of the V-2 rockets. And some of our military men talked to him and said, well, Hitler's gone, there's no money in Germany. Would you like to come to America and work on your projects there? And he said, yes, he would. He was very scientifically. And so he did. We got his rockets and him and a few other guys with him. And they were all good, except there was one guy that apparently was mad they lost the war. But one morning he set the coordinates on the rocket to tip over and blow up El Paso. It was going right for El Paso. And boy, we were scared to death. We didn't know what to do. But the range officer blew it up before it got there. It went up about 1,000 foot, tipped over and hit it right for El Paso. And that guy, that scientist, was on his way back to Germany the next morning. Werner von Braun, you know, he was a good man too as well.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, just briefly. I never really.
You didn't have
coffee
together?
No. I had to they wanted me to put a camera on one of the rockets one day. Well, I was 60 miles away from White Sands, where our place of business was. So I drove over there one morning, mounted that camera on that rocket. I never heard if it worked or blew up or what happened. But I drilled some holes in one of the rockets and mounted that camera on there. We wanted to get into outer space. And they told me I started the space age because the day that we got one into outer space, and I called the general and everybody and said, we're in outer space. And they just sat there and they just wiggled just a little bit, but quit running. They didn't go anymore. Space is 106 miles right straight up. And to get one, we had a lot of them go up 50, 60, 70 miles. But we finally got one in outer space, 106 miles.
So you witnessed the first man-made thing in outer space.
Right, yeah. I saw it with my own eyes. And I knew that we were in outer space because it quit moving. And see, there's no oxygen in outer space. And those engines, the rocket engines, had to have oxygen to make them run. And the minute it stopped, I said, we're in outer space, and everybody was pretty happy. That's what we've been trying to do for over a year. We finally got one up there. You know? I read a phototheodolite, which is a precision recording surveying instrument, and that thing took a picture of the rocket in my scope. I think it was 3 times a minute that it took a picture. So we knew right exactly where it was and what it was doing. I read the elevation side of the guidance. Now another guy was running the azimuth, they called it. You know, it was azimuth and elevation, and I ran the elevation, and that was a difficult thing because that thing was going up right up there pretty fast. And we had wonderful instruments. Kodak company made the instruments and the big scopes. If you could imagine making a scope 305 miles, that's what they did. We kept on running those tests, but then the next ones never got into outer space like this one did. So, and then I was just, what was it, about a week till I was to get discharged. And then that last week I didn't get in on any test. Well, I was kind of proud that I could help this brain guy to develop. That was the shooting down of the airplanes, you know, and I was glad that I could be his friend. I was glad that he seemed to work better after I got there, and we had a good time together too, really. Even though the guys thought he was odd, well, he was odd. I decided I'd taken orders long enough. I'm going to work for myself. I went to farming. Well, I'd had some farm equipment, and I rented out, or I picked lands out for guys. You may not understand that, but some corn pickers, the tractor runs beside the picker, and the picker was off to the side. But I had a mounted picker, and I could open the lands in the field so the guys with the old style pickers could get started picking corn. It worked out real good for me. I bought land when it was very cheap, and now it's skyrocketed in price. And, well, let's see, I went right after I got out of the Army, I went to a basketball game at Ringside at high school, and the prettiest girl I'd ever seen sold me an apple. and that's one thing leads to another, and pretty soon we got married. But I was just glad to be a part of it, and I was glad to help run the NCO club too.